Warm welcome, namaste to all my dear friends and students. This is your personal English coach, Professor DC, and here is an explanation of Philip Larkin's Church Going. On my screen, you can see the original poem with two things mentioned. Number one is the title of the stanza so that you exactly know what the stanza is talking about. And number two is meanings of the difficult words beside the word itself so that you can pause my video and note down the meanings. Now let's get right into the poem. This poem is a profound meditation on the role of churches in modern secular world. Through the speaker's journey, the poem explores the themes of faith, decay, tradition, and universal human need for reflection. Let's bring together all the stanzas and cover the overreaching messages of this remarkable poem. So, stanza number one, friends, is all about entering the quiet, or you can say curiosity and initial observation. Now, this poem begins with the speaker hesitantly entering a church. He ensures the space is empty, reflecting his discomfort and detachment. Once inside, he observes the church's features. There are matting, there are seats, there is a stone and wilted flowers. But he looks at all these things with an indifferent tone. The silence is oppressive yet compelling. And though the speaker is skeptical, he unconsciously shows respect by removing his cycle clips. Now, friends, this opening stanza establishes the speaker's ambivalence, setting the stage for his deeper reflections. That's all about stanza number one. Stanza number two, as I've given the title, is all about observing the sacred. Let's see and let's understand what is the summary or meaning of this stanza. So, as the speaker explores the church further, he interacts with its objects, running his hand around the baptismal font and mounting the lectern. He observes everything carefully, but his observations are casual, sometimes even mocking, as he reads scripture aloud and laughs at the echo. Despite his outward irreverence, he participates in traditional acts like signing the visitor's book and donating money, revealing an unconscious connection to the church's rituals. Now, friends, this stanza highlights the tension between skepticism and tradition. Moving on to stanza number three, and I'm sure you are noting down the meanings of difficult words. You should always be very powerful with your vocabulary for having a better English. Stanza number three, friends, is all about the habit of visiting, or you can say speculating on the future. There are two aspects of stanza number three. Stanza number three talks about the habit of visiting. It also talks about the speculating of the future. The poet talks about what's going to happen in the future. So let's explore what this stanza is all about. The speaker broadens his focus, pondering what will happen to churches as their religious role declines. He imagines a future where these spaces fall out of use, becoming relics or unlucky places. His questions reflect a deep uncertainty about how society will preserve or discard such spaces. Friends, this stanza captures the evolving relationship between modernity and tradition, emphasizing the transient nature of faith. That's all about stanza number three. Moving on to stanza number four. Stanza number four is all about future myths and superstitions. It's all about superstition and decay. Now, the speaker, let me just show you the whole stanza before I start the explanation. The speaker envisions churches and he thinks about churches which are repurposed for superstitions or left to decay. He imagines people visiting these spaces for mystical rituals or trivial pursuits, reflecting a shift from organized faith to fragmented practice. Despite this decay, the speaker acknowledges that churches retain a residual power. even in randomness. The imagery of overgrown weeds and brambles symbolizes the nature that is reclaiming these once sacred spaces, underscoring the inevitability of change. That's all about stanza number 4. Stanza number 5 is all about decay and obscurity, or you can talk about the last visitors. So, stanza number 5 is addressing two things. One is decay and obscurity. Second thing is the last visitors. So, friends, here the speaker speculates on who will be the last to visit a church for its original purpose. He imagines historians or enthusiasts, which he calls them ruin bibbers, and Christmas addicts drawn to the church for nostalgia or fascination with a decay with its decay. Now, this stanza highlights the tension between preservation of history and the loss of living significance, painting a poignant picture of the church's twilight years. Let's move on to stanza number 6. It talks about the human connection, or we can say recognizing timeless value. So, friends, here the speaker reflects on the enduring role of churches as spaces for life's most profound moments. It may be marriage, it may be birth, it may be death. He describes the church as a special shell, a container. Uh, what kind of a container this is? It's a special shell, a container for these universal experiences. Again, what are the universal experiences? Marriage, birth, death. Despite its aging and decayed state, the church remains a place where people connect with their humanity. Now, this stanza, friends, shifts the tone towards reverence, towards respect, acknowledging the church's ability to preserve meaning amid societal change. Talking about the stanza number 7, as I have mentioned in the title, it's all about the final realization, or we can say the seriousness of sacred spaces. Now, this poem concludes with the speaker's ultimate acknowledgement of the church's significance. It describes it as a serious house on a serious earth. That's the very first line, where human struggles are transformed into destinies. While faith may fade, the speaker asserts that the need for solemnity, or we can say solitude and reflection, ensures the church's last relevance. The presence of graves reinforces this connection, grounding the church in the realities of life and death. Now, this is the last stanza, I believe, and I want to touch base on the themes of this poem, right? So let's have a friendly conversation, and you can also comment all the themes you thought were included in this poem. So first theme is I would say the decline of a religion. This poet explores the waning role of organized religion in modern society, reflecting on what will happen to the physical and cultural legacy of churches. He then talks about the theme of sacredness beyond faith. So let's say if you stop believing in any religion, if your faith declines, churches retain a sense of sacredness, serving as a space for reflection, nostalgia, connection to the past, so on and so forth. For me, the third theme for this poem is human connection to morality. The church's association with life's milestone and presence of graves make it a place for confronting morality, that is death, and finding meaning as well. And can you think about the last theme here in this poem? That is correct. It is ritual and tradition. Now, the speaker's participation in church rituals, despite his skepticism, highlights the persistence of tradition in the secular age. I would say there are only four main themes that Larkin has mentioned. Number one is the decline of religion. Number two is sacredness beyond faith. Number 3 is human connection to morality. And number 4 is a ritual and tradition. Um, Also, my question to you, and you can comment in the comment section, what do you think was the tone of the poem, right? The tone of the poem, you must have observed that it starts with a doubt, it starts with skepticism, and then it moves on to respect or reverence. It mirrors the speaker's evolving understanding of the churches and its significance, and the controversial tone and free verse structure allows the speaker's reflections to flow naturally. It bends humor, there is irony, and there is a profound insight in the poem. And here we are with the final message of the poem. Friends, this poem is a reflection of the changing role of the sacred spaces in the secular world, and it challenges the readers to think about what we persevere and why we persevere. It offers a perspective on the enduring human need for reflection, connection, and meaning. And this poet, who goes by the name of Philip Larkin, leaves us with the idea that even as the belief systems evolve, the spaces like churches will always remain timeless symbols of our shared humanity. Now, I want to ask 3 questions to you before I wrap up this video. First question is, and I want the answers in the comment section down below. First question is, how do sacred spaces like churches shape our understanding of community, tradition, and morality? Do you think sacred spaces, not just churches, it may be temples, it may be gurudwaras, it may be any holy place, it may be Makkahs or Madinas or masjids, how do they shape the understanding of community, tradition, and morality? Second question, my dear friends, to you is, can secular spaces ever fulfill the same role as the religious ones? Can secular spaces ever fulfill the same role as religious ones? And third question is, what does church going suggest about the human need for reflection and connection in the modern world? I'll repeat again. What does church going, as in this poem, suggest about the human need for reflection and connection in the modern world? Having said that, dear friends, we have come to the end of this video, and I thank you for staying tuned with me and watching my channel. And if you think you have doubts in any of your English syllabus, it may be grammar, it may be prose, poetry, literature, drama, do mention it in the comment section and Professor DC will come to the rescue. Not only English, if you think you have questions in any of your subjects, please feel free to reach me out and I will be happy to help. I thank you for watching and I hope you have a wonderful day.